Code Afric. Unlock the future.
Hello friends, welcome back to this beautiful and awesome lesson. On our previous lesson, we were able to build this mockup which is working nice, okay, all right, with all the arrow left and right navigations. Now in this episode, we are looking at how to build the theme section here, okay, which contains a carousel, what we can call a slider, the carousel nicely like this, and we'll be doing this with the help of CSS3 and some jQuery plugins and also some Bootstrap implementations and in our HTML also. So without wasting much time, let's dive in. Now we'll begin from here inside our HTML. Let's begin with the comments. So at the very down there, so let's copy, paste. All right, so we call it a theme mockup. Then let's copy it again and let's end it here. So inside here, let's begin with a section, and inside this section, let's call a class and let's name it themes. Okay, themes. All right, something like this. Now inside, let's create a div with a class container. Okay, so something like this. Now inside here, let's give it an h2. Okay, then let's give it a b tag, which is bold. Now inside, let's call our members. So we say members. All right. Now before anything, let's save it and check it. So inside our browser, let's check it. Now you can see that we have our members here. Okay. Now let's vertically align it to the center by using the predefined class in Bootstrap. We say test center. Now let's check it again. And also we have it being aligned at the center. All right. So now we need this one. Okay. We need this section. We need to create a paragraph and put this text inside. So I've copied the text. So I'll come here and I'll create my p tag, which is my paragraph tag. So inside the paragraph tag, the text in, indenting my code, then I'll break it here. I'll use a BL to break it here. Now let's check it. Here. Okay, so we have it here. Okay. Now the next section is we have to build this one. We have to work on the carousel here. Okay, and you can see it moves 3 at a time. Okay, so we have to create this section with the names. Okay, so Dr. Joseph Asante and Mr. Kufu is here, and Sir John also is here. All right, so now let me start with a break. Okay, BL tag here. Okay, then here I'll create a div with a class container. Okay, and again I'll create a class, a div with a class row, and again I'll create a div with a class. Let me work with the responsiveness column MD12. Okay, now I'll create another div with a class theme. Now no, let me create a div with an ID of theme member. Okay, now this ID has not been defined at anywhere. We will later define them in our CSS. I will then again create a class with a div with a class. Then this one I'll call it theme members. So the ID is member. The ID is members. Make the ID rather members. Then I'll make the class member. Something like this. Okay. So now from here, let me insert my first image. I'll call my image tag and I'll give it a source src. Then my image folder. Let me call Dr. Joseph to PNG. Okay, so before anything, let me save it and check. Let's save it and check in our browser, our projects. And there we go. We can see that my image is here. Dr. Joseph is here. But then again, the image is not responsive. So let's go and work on that one. So here, let's use a class of a Bootstrap called img responsive. All right, so now let's check it again. And I've changed the image to Dr. Joseph. Okay, so here what we need next is I need the information. Okay, the info, the name and the title and the social links. Okay, so we have to work on that one too. All right, so right from here, so after the image, I'll create a div with the class and I'll name the class team member info. Okay, now we don't have anything in the class. We will later define it. Okay, so I'll create another div with the class. Sorry. All right, so I'll create another div with a class. No, I don't need a div. Let me create an h4. Okay, so h4, then I will give it a class of team member name. Okay, and here I can pass the name here. So let me say Joseph Asante. Then I will pass in another h4 with the class. Then I'll call it team member designation. Okay, team member designation. Okay, so here I'll specify maybe the position or something. So I'll say CEO. Okay, and before anything, let's save it and check. Yes, you can see that we have it here. Okay. All right. Now, so we have to work for the social links here. Okay, which is the Facebook, Twitter, and Google Plus. Right. So now I will come here. Now let me use the unordered list to do that. Okay. So I will use my UL. Then inside the UL, as usual, we have to call our li. Now inside this li, our icons must be clickable. So we use an anchor tag, and I will specify the href. So inside the href here, I'll pass a class which I'll call it a social icons. Then I'll give it another class called icon gray. I'll use it to style it. Okay, so something like this. Now here is where I'm going to pass my icon name. Okay, and I will need an I, which is the index. Then I have to call it from my font awesome. So I'll do font awesome first, awesome, FA, then the first one is Facebook. Okay, Facebook. All right, so now let me duplicate it 2 more times in order to get my Twitter and Google Plus. So I'll change this place, Twitter, and this I'll change it to Google Plus. All right, so now let's save it and check, and we can see that we have them here. Okay, this is coming from the font awesome predefined class. Now I have to align all the items at the center, so I'll have to come here, my team member, then I will say test center. All right, now let's check. Okay, so something like this. All right, but then I would like to, let me take it from here and place it here rather. Yeah, the info. Let me put it here rather. It will not change anything. When you save it and check, we still have the same result, but I prefer it here. Now, what we have to do is that we need this how many times? We need this one how many times? Let's check it from the original. We need it. This is 3. Then we have 4 and 5. So we need it 5 times. So now that we have one, now that we have worked on one here, we have to duplicate the code how many times? 4 more times. The copy and paste again. So we have to be extra careful. All right, so we will copy from the team member. Okay, so this is the team member class. So when I click on this, okay, so we start from here and it ends at here. So I'll hold my shift, then I'll click here, then I'll come and click here. Okay, to get it selected like this, then I'll copy. Okay, so I'll carefully come here and paste it. So this is 1. I need it 4 more times. 2, 3, and 4. All right, so something like this, and let me indent the code. Okay, please take your time, okay, and work with the indentations, and also make sure that the copy and the paste, you work it out accurately. Okay, now when I save it and check it from the browser, this is what I have: 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, I have to work on the naming and the info. So now the first one is Dr. Joseph. So the second one. All right. So now let me change the images also. So here I'll select say Akufu. Then I'll come to the next one. I'll call for John Bina. Now it left with Christabel and Gertrude. So with Christabel, let me go for team 1, and with Gertrude, let me go for team 2. Do I have it? Yes. Okay, so something like this. Anyway, before anything, let's save it and let's check it how it ends in our browser. Going down. Okay, so the images also is changing. No, you are not a female. Let me go ahead and change you. Let's change this guy. It's not a female. All right, so let's check it again. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, all right. Now we have it like this. The next thing to do is that we have to let me come up and show you something. Now we have to target the team info class, okay, and use it to style it a bit before we use the jQuery to add more functionalities to it. So now let's head towards our CSS and reference our team info and start styling it. All right, friends. Now before we move on to the CSS section and style it a bit, you can see that from the original there are some margins here. Okay, there are some wider margins here. Okay, so let's go ahead and implement that margin right here before you move on. And again, I'd like to use the BL tag to do that. So I'll call for the BL. Yeah, 3 more times. Okay, now let's check it. Okay, now we have it here. Now let me leave some margin here, okay, or a padding here. So I'll have to start with the team member class. Okay, so the team member class is coming from here. All right, so now here let's head towards our CSS, and let me begin with a comment. All right, so copy. All right, friends. Let's end it here. Come back on the next one and style it further. All right, thank you. All right, guys, welcome back. Now let's add some CSS properties and style our projects. So I'll begin with the team members, like I said. So I'll call my team member class, then I'll give a margin 0, then 25. So the margin top and bottom will be 20 pixels, and then left and right will be 25 pixels. Now, if you save and check, we will not have much because we've not vertically aligned them, so we will not see. All right. So now I will target the team member info. Okay, I have to target that class. See here, team member info. Let me copy it then. Use it here. So I'll do dot the team member info. All right. So from here, let me give it a padding. I want to top down, left and right. So I'll do it 10. All right. So something like this. All right. So when you check, we still don't have much. Now I want us to target the name. Okay, and style it a bit. Okay, so now let's go and look at the class. All right, so back to the VS Code inside our HTML. Now we are looking for. Okay, so here you can see that we have our team member name and we have our designation also here. So now let's tackle the team member name. So we have to reference. It also works with the H4, so we have to reference it with the H4 here. This header. Okay. All right, so now back to our CSS. So here I'll call the H4, then I'll call the team member name. Okay. So from here I'll give it a font size of 19 pixels. Then let's give it a font weight. We can make it bold, but let's make it less than bold, which is 700 pixels. And let's give it letter spacing. Let's space the letters and by 1 pixels. And let's give it a padding top of 2 pixels. All right. So before anything, let's check. Okay, now we have some spacing between the name. Okay, all right. Now let's go ahead and work with the next step, which is the team member designation. So you can see from here, okay, so we will reference the H4, then we also reference the team member designation. It's here. Okay. All right, so now let's go ahead. We do H4, then we reference the dots, which is the class, then the team member designation. All right, here we are going to put some color, then the font weight, then the font size, the margin, the spacing, and co. So now let's implement that. All right, so with the text transform, you give it capitalized. So this implies that the first letters will begin with capital. Okay, that's what the text transform capitalized does. Okay. All right, so here I want a 700, not 700 pesos. like this one. Before anything, let's save it and check. Okay, I think we are on the server side. So you can see that the color too has changed, okay, nicely like this. So you might be asking, why am I still getting this one? It is because I specified caps locks inside. You can see that it has been capitalized. It is because I make it all capital. That's why I did not see the change from there. Okay, so let me change it back. I want it like this. I want the first one like this. Okay. All right. So now from here, let's tackle the social links here. Okay. So when we come to the HTML, from the designation, we move on to the social icons. I think we have to create that class. Okay. So we do class and we call it social list. Okay. Something like this. Let's apply it to the rest. So you copy, then you apply it to the rest. All right. So here, then we put it here. So we did not copy it well. Something like this. Okay. So let's copy it again. Copy. Then the next move will be here. Okay. So something like that. And I think the last one also will be here. Okay. Here. All right. All right. So now let's go ahead and call the social link class and remove some padding. So I will do dot social list. Then I'll give it a padding left. Let's give it 0. All right. Now here I would like us to tackle this list. Okay. The list here. And also remove this bulletin from here. All right. And also align the icons nicely. Okay. So I first have to tackle the social list class. Then I have to tackle the li too. Okay. Then so we come here. I'll call the social list. Then I'll reference the li. Then I'll give it a list style of none. And I'll give it a display. Then with a display, I'll give it inline block, something like this. Now let's check. Okay, so you can see that we don't have the bulletin here, and you can see that the icons also have been nicely arranged. Okay, so now from here I can reference the social links, then I reference the I. Okay, because all the icons are coming from here. So if you want the longhand, then you can go with the social list, then you go to the li before the a, the anchor, before you come to the I. But let's save some time by using the social list and the I. All right, so now back to our CSS. So from here, I'll reference my social list, then I'll do I. Okay, now let's give it a font size of 17 pixels. Okay, and now let's check. Okay, now back to the HTML. Let's change the color, and to change the color, you can see that we gave it a class of icon gray. So we have to reference this class. Okay, you do dot icon gray, and let's give it a color of gray. Let's use the hash code. So you do 6477B 647. Okay, sure, something like this. Okay, all right. So now let's check. Okay, we can see that the font has changed to gray, the color. Now let's work with the slider here, and we will be using jQuery plugins. Come here and type all carousel. Okay, something like this. All right, the very first one, let's open that one. All right, so you'll be taken to this landing page, and from here, let's explore more. Okay, so these are the features, the demo features. Okay, it has an access of what swapping, dragging, and it is also responsive. So we can have a full customization. It is fully customizable. And it also comes with a touch features. That means if you are using a touch device, you can also take advantage of this using your finger to swap it to the different pages. All right. And it is fully responsive, as I said, and it is also accessible. It works with all modern browsers and more. Okay. You can come to the documentations here. When you click on this one, the docs, okay, you can come here and come and learn more if you want to. All right. Now, what we do from here is you can download it directly like this. But I always on the server side when I am using the GitHub. So I like using the GitHub section. So I'll open with the GitHub. And from here, I'll come to this place, come here and download the zip file. Okay, download it. Okay, so downloading is complete. So I'll click on it to open and I'll unzip the file. It is here. I'll open it like this. And what I need is from the distributing folder. And I'll come to the access. So inside the access folder, from here, I need the oldcarousel.min.css. First, I will need a minified version of CSS. So I'll open my CSS Then I will drag and drop this one. Then I will also need this one. Theme default.main.css. I'll need this one. Okay, something like this. All right, now I'll need the CSS file also. So I'll come to my CSS. I'll open my CSS. Then from here, I will need carousel.main.css. I always go for the minified version because it has been modified, it has been compressed. Okay, now that we are through with this, we have to come into our project. We have to come to our HTML and link the files. Okay. All right. So now before we linked, let me show you something from the docs. So let's open the documentation. All right. Now, if I hit installation, you can see that we need to link these files. Okay. We need to link the carousel.main.cs and also the themes.default.main.cs. Okay. And also when it comes to the JS section, we need to link this file also. Okay. The old carousel.main.js. We need to link this one also. So this is what we are going to do. All right. Now we will come to our HTML. All right. Now let's link our project. I'll begin with a comment at the bottom of where the magnific pop-up ends. That is where I'm going to start. Now I will change this rating to, let's call it OE carousel CSS file. Let's make it small letters. Carousel CSS file. Okay, so something like this. I'll copy, I'll paste it here, then I'll end it here. Now let's link our file. So we begin with a link, then we give it an href with an attribute of CSS, then the file, the first one. Let's give it a reference of style sheet, type of text, CSS. Okay, something like this. Now let's go ahead and link the second one. Okay, so now we are through with the CSS, so we can go ahead and link the JS inside our jQuery section. Okay, let me copy this one, the comments here, then I'll bring it under this place. Okay, so I'll change this one to JS. Let's go ahead and link it. Now let me show you something from the docs. When you scroll further, you can see from here, we need to put this class inside the parent container. Then we will go to our JS and reference the document that's ready, then create the function with the O. Very, very simple as that. Okay, so let's enter into our HTML. All right, now so yeah, we will come here, you scroll down, the team member. Okay, we have to place them here. We have to place the class here, and so we create a class, then we give it the O carousel. Okay, something like this. Now we save it and come to our main.js. We come to our main.js file. All right, so now before anything, let's open the documentation again. Then the JS side, all what I will need is this one. Okay, I will need this one. I will copy then inside here. Yes, here I will paste, and I have to change this one. Let me change this one and reference the team member. So it will be like this. I'll start with the hashtag, then I'll do team member, team members. Okay, something like this. All right, so you save it and let's check it in the browser. We don't have any results, meaning there's an error in our code. Okay, so let's go and rectify that. Now let's check the way we linked it. So from here, okay, the error is coming from here. We have to reference it to the main class, which is the ID. Remember, we created the ID here. So that's where we have to reference it. So I'll cut this one. I'll cut the class that we created here. Cut it from here, then I'll rather bring it here. Paste it here. Now correct it and let's check it. All right, awesome. Friends, you can see that our project has been vertically aligned perfectly. But still, we are still having some errors, okay, because you can see this one, and also we don't have our slider. So let's end here. Let's come back on the next one and finalize everything. Thank you. Welcome back. Now let's look at what is wrong with John Wiener here, okay? Because it seems the styling that we implemented did not affect this one. So let's look at what is wrong. Now we enter into our HTML. Let's look at John Wiener section. So this is John Wiener. So what is wrong? Now the fault is coming from this place. You can see that the UL, the class that we implemented, did not give it to John Wiener too. So we have to implement that class also here. Now let's close it. Something like this. Now let's check it again. And there we go. Everything is in order. With the exception of this, it seems our project is not order responsive because we have to slide it. Okay, you can see that the rest follows when it's slide. Okay, so let's go and work with some responsiveness and also a margin. Now let's enter into our CSS and write some code. Now at the very top, okay, let me reference the team member and let me give it a margin top property and give it a value of 50 pixels. Okay, let me check. Okay, it's not bad. It seems the margin here is some kind of too much, so I would like to come here and change this one to 15. All right, so something like this. Okay, you can see that there's a less margin here. Now let's enter into our JS and write some rules. Okay, so inside here, I'll break my curly braces, and here I'll start with the item. So with the items, I'll say 3. What I'm trying to imply is that 3 items should slide at a time. Okay, then I'll give it an autoplay of true. Okay, so now I'll give it a smart speed. Okay, so what should we specify? So let's give it 700 milliseconds or even 500. And with a loop, okay, it's supposed to be looping, so give it true. Then let's give it autoplay. Let me say hover, autoplay hover pause. Then let's give it true. What we mean is that when it is sliding and you hover over it with a cursor, when you hover over it, it will stop, okay, or it will pause. Okay, now let's write some rules for the responsiveness, and I will do it like this. So I'll give it a responsive, and here I'll give it a value of 0. So item 1. All right, so what this one means is that on a small screen size, one item will spin at a time. All right, so now we'll copy this one and let's duplicate it 2 more times. So let's change the values here. Give it 480, which is a normal screen size, which is, let's say, a tablet. Then we have to get a value of 2. It should spin twice. Then let's change this one to 768. So on a larger screen size, it should spin 3 times. Okay, something like this. All right, friends, there are still error in the code, so let's look at it. And I think it's coming from here. Okay, it's coming from here. We need a curly braces here. Okay, I'll cut this one, then I'll end it here. Let me paste this somewhere here. Yeah, something like this. Also, now let's check our project. You can see that everything is in order. All right, now we have an awesome work. All right, now let's go ahead and work on the indicators here. Okay, the indicators that would enable us to slide to the next section, the left or the right. All right, and it is very easy to do that. Okay, we only have to come to our HTML with the help of the old themes that we installed. Okay, we linked in our CSS. It's very easy for us. It's very, very simple. So now I'll come here inside my dots here. I'll come here inside my O carousel. I'll call the O theme class. Something like this. No, not on O. Okay, something like this. Now let's save it and check. All right. Now when you scroll down, you can see that we have it here. Awesome. So when you click on it, okay, you can see that it can redirect us to the left or the right. Okay, now let's change its color. Let's change the color here. All right, now, so to change this color, I don't need to worry myself that much. I only have to come to my desktop and locate my project folder, open my CSS. Then inside my CSS, like this, I only have to open this one, o.theme.default.main.cs. I have to open it with any text editor. Okay, let me open it with Sublime Text. And I only have to come here at the very last end here. I only have to change the color. Okay, you can use H code or you can specify the color. Okay, so let me call for sky blue, deep sky blue. Okay, now let me close it. Yes, I want to save it. Save. All right, now let me go and check it from the project, and you can see that the color has changed also. All right, now another thing to work on is this place. Okay, when we slide, you can see that it just slide. It's not awesome. Now let's enter into the code and change this one. It's here. Okay, the speed, let's change it to 500. Save it and let's check it. Now let's slide it and see. Or better still, you can change it further. Let's make it 750. Save it and let's check it. Okay, you can see that this one, it takes its time to spin nicely. All right, now let's check the responsiveness if you have something at all. All right, now we can see that we have it. Okay, yeah, yes, it's responsive. Okay. All right, friends, finally we did it. Okay, congratulations, we were able to build this section. Also, we are moving forward. And before we end this section, let's enter into our code and let's commit the changes and also push it. Now let's commit. Okay, so we click on this one, then we come here, we give it a commit message. Let's call it team members section markup with responsiveness. Okay, team member section mockups with responsiveness. All right, now let's commit it. Then we come to our terminal. Then let's push it. Okay, we'll git push origin main. Hit enter. All right, guys, our project has been successfully pushed into our GitHub repository. All right, now we end here. Let's meet on the next one. Until we meet again, keep on practicing. Thank you.